All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Stick Theory podcast. Today we're joined by DudzLax, who has, in my opinion, some of the best branding and overall names in the game. But he's originally from Central Pennsylvania. He's a Hood College alum. I actually sent one of my players up there, so it's kind of cool to see. Currently, he's in Charleston, South Carolina. He strings for a small store down there, and he's probably been stringing since he started playing in elementary school. So yeah, DudzLax, couldn't be happier to have you on.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'll just hop in, give a little brief overview of how I came up with the name. So my name is Alex Dujak. My last name is a little hard to pronounce, but it's spelled Dudziak, and everyone used to pronounce it Dudziak. So my nickname just naturally became Duds, and I just kind of ran with that.
That's awesome. So I assume that kind of just lent itself to the like Milk Duds logo. Is just naturally that's phenomenal.
Yeah, so fortunate enough, kind of just did that, and then I had a friend in college make me a logo, and he just sent it over one day, and I was like, "Yeah, that's sick," and kind of just been running with it.
That's awesome. So what kind of got you into lacrosse in the first place?
Yeah, so I started in elementary school. My brother had originally started playing, and then like some of my friends growing up, they started playing as well. So it was only right that it was just a matter of time for me to start playing as well.
That's awesome. So is that kind of just more so like the older brothers playing, just wanting to be like older brothers, and like, do you remember the first stick you got through some of those guys?
Yeah, so when I first started playing, it was kind of my brother let it off, but one of my cousins had played. So once he found out that we were playing, he had a couple old sticks in the garage, so he gave us those so we had our first sticks, and then it was only a matter of time. My brother was a little older, so he was able to start, and then once I got old enough, I joined. I think it was like third or fourth grade was my first year.
Yeah. Do you happen to remember what those first sticks were?
Yeah, it was the STX AV8 on
Oh
the
yeah.
AL 6000 shaft. It was like all silver, white head. I mean, pocket back then was nothing. And it was like two of those, the exact same stick. And then like my first like newer stick was literally just the same thing, but it had the amp shaft in red and I had it like custom strung from like the store I bought with like the most awful hard mesh pocket that barely worked. But I mean, that's how it was back in the day.
Yeah, I mean that's how my first sticks were. I remember we went to because lacrosse is still a newer sport down here. We went to it's called Academy Sports. Like
Mhm.
picked up some random Nike stick and like looking back on it, I'm like, how did I even like play this sport
Yeah.
at the beginning? But so then obviously I'm gonna assume it's gonna go into this part a little bit. Like what pulled you toward the stringing side of things? Because a lot of people they play the sport, but like Brandon O'Neill's a big one right now. Like he came out and said he's like, don't learn how to string. He's like, you don't want to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
It's too much to worry about.
Yeah, I was definitely kind of like into arts and crafts a little bit as a kid. So I was always just like messing around with stuff like that. So once it came to, the ability to like learn how to string your stick and just like mess around with my pocket and stuff, I was like just got super interested in that and would just constantly string and unstring my stick. Like the one I would use, I'd go to practice so many times and I couldn't even throw the ball just because my stick didn't work. I think I probably would have been better at playing lacrosse growing up if I just didn't constantly restring my stick. But
Yeah,
so
yeah, then once I learned how to string, it was probably I started messing around with it my sophomore year of high school. And I remember one practice was like throwing straight to the ground. I'm like, oh, we'll take out the shooters, throwing high. Next practice, like things. It's like there's a whole week. I just probably like line drills. Just don't even put me out there.
yeah, I was probably completely useless to my coaches. They were like, "What is going on with this kid?"
So, do you remember the first stick you ever strung?
It was probably one of the AV8s, but I remember the first stick I really strung was for my brother. He needed his stick restrung, and we went to the store. And I mean, you pay like back then it was like $40 to get a
Yeah.
stick restrung at like a store. And I mean, the pocket was just the same thing that was already in it, essentially just new colors. And my parents were like, "Yeah, we're just not paying that." And I was like, I'll string it. Just buy like if you give me the kit and everything, I'll just do it." And I mean, it was a pretty good pocket, and it was the Nike Blur. It was like the 10 degree
Yeah.
head the last time they did that. And it was like a white head, and I put like orange mesh with like blue strings and shooters in it.
See, that's I love that because Uzumaki, me and him were talking on here, but that episode got corrupted, so we got to refilm it. But me and him are big on the bring back bright colors because like the all white sticks, they look great, they look good. The all black
Yeah.
looks cool, but just like add some variety to it. Like bring back the neon a little bit.
Yeah, the neon was a that was just a time, and like they had the I remember DudzLax had the tricolor shooters, and like the
Yes.
Wizard kits had them. That was a time.
Yeah, that's one thing I was happy to come across scrolling through a sideline swap one time. It was just like a massive box of just the old like tricolor shooters and everything. I'm like, oh, this is a score.
Yeah,
It
it's
looks so
just
good.
nostalgia.
Yeah. So what kind of changed most about your stringing mindset or like your process over the years? Because obviously you start stringing for your brother with the hard mesh on probably one of those closer to like more like beginner entry level sticks. So what
Mhm.
kind of changed about your process over the years?
Yeah, I just think it was one of those things is like I had access to like getting more material and mesh and like, started making my own money. I could buy more heads and like got older and just really was able to like fine tune my craft. So like obviously when I was starting, it was just like unstring or restring the same head 100 times. Like figure out what I can do with the STX AV8, right? How many times can I change up the pattern to see what kind of pocket it creates? So I did that and then watched a lot of YouTube videos. That was like right when like Throne of String ECD really like started kicking off their YouTube channels. So, I mean, I watched every single video the days they dropped. I remember they used to have like days they would drop their videos, and I like memorized every single day that they would drop and like roughly what time. And I was like on YouTube, like refreshing, waiting for the video to hit.
Oh,
So
those
there was
ECD
that.
Greg tutorials.
Yeah. And then I think once I got to like high school, college, that's when you like I really kind of just like was like, all right, what do the knots actually mean? Like,
Hmm.
what happens if I pull it down, 3 or 4 times at the top and then bunch it up at the bottom? Like, how does that actually affect the pocket? And then when I was in college, I had started stringing. It was my senior year in college. I was stringing some sticks for the guys on the team, and then I started working at ECD and I would string their pre-strung sticks. And that's where I learned how to like mass string, the same pocket over and over again. And that's where I really learned like repetition and just like the constant like, hey, making everything like symmetrical, perfect, like the knot, like just how the knots visually look on the head and making it look good as well.
Yeah.
So
So that's actually a really, I don't think you're the first person we've had on here working for ECD. How'd you kind of come across that position?
yeah, so it was my senior year of college, and my friend Ty texted me, and he sent it was like the job listing for like warehouse stringer for ECD, and I was like, I'll just apply. Like I don't know what I'm getting into, so I just like applied. And what I did was I lived like 45 minutes from the warehouse in college, so I would just drive out there, pick up like 2 or 3 boxes of like it was like I'd pick up like anywhere from like 40 to 80 heads and just like throw them in the corner of my room and just like do them whenever I had time. And then I'd drive them all back, drop them off, and then pick up like 80 more heads and then just go
Oh
home and
my.
do them.
That sounds like a blast, but also at the same time, oh my, that pattern's
Yeah,
probably memorized into your brain at this point, right?
yeah, I could string most of the ECD heads just without even looking at it. Like I would and I remember I like it was awesome because it'd be like it'd be like in the fall and like football was on and I would just sit on the couch. I'd put like 10 heads next to me and I would just watch the games and I would just constantly grind out. It was like easy money to get through college.
That sounds like a phenomenal gig right there, especially being in
Yeah.
college, killing all that time. So then that kind of goes into a little bit. You in high school, you start want to learn how the like different knots function with each other. Like, how does a single match up to an SI? So like, how has that kind of impacted your stringing philosophy as far as like how you approach a head the first time?
Yeah, so I think when I was in college, it was mostly like depending what people wanted, it was like, hey, do you want this pocket like replicated? Do you just want the same thing? Like if you give me a stick and you want the same thing, sure, I'll just throw it right in and do it for you. But like if you give me a stick and you say, hey, this is kind of what I'm wanting, and you let me have some creative freedoms on it, then that's where my philosophy comes in a little bit. And what I do is I try not to do anything like super crazy because I know most of the people that I shrink for are I'm either shrinking for them because they don't trust someone else, or they just don't have anyone else that can string to like the quality that I can. And I think there's a lot of like super, super advanced techniques that you can do in pockets, and it just doesn't like if you break a sidewall and you have like, like that basket weave, like super crazy like sidewall pattern, like if that breaks, like whoever stick that is, they just have to go back to that person to string their stick. Like no one on the sideline can repair that quickly.
Yeah.
So I just do pretty basic. It's either knots or SIs, and sometimes I'll do interlocks, and I'll just do if it's like a basic mid pocket, I'll probably pull 3 or 4 knots down, and then I'll do a variety of maybe ones and twos, just depending on the head and the pocket placement that I'm really trying to go for.
That's awesome. I do like that approach a lot because I do see that happen a lot of times. So where like some of these intricate sidewalls and top strings, it's like they look great,
Yeah.
they work phenomenal. Like the Liberty top string, for example. Like truth, like once you learn how to do it, it's not too bad. But
No.
if you've never done it before and just like, hey man, my top string broke, it's like, oh well,
Yeah.
sorry.
Like
Send it
the
back to him.
sidewall, yeah, the sidewall Jedi just came out with his video like doing like the 9 diamond with like a 6 hole scoop.
Yeah.
Liberty top string. And I was like, that's a great video for like everyone to learn on. But I was like, never gonna put that in like any of the kids that I string sticks for that are like under 12 because as soon as that rips, like they're gonna have no idea what to do.
Yeah. Just hey,
So
standard. I'm a big fan of the standard 9 diamond top string. It's tried and true. It's
yeah, like
always
I'll
consistent.
do every now and then I'll like do maybe like a 10 diamond or like I'll do like some crazy maybe like a triangle top, but like yeah, I keep my top strings pretty standard. I've done a few Liberty top strings, but I usually just stick with like a basic 9 diamond.
Yeah, so you would probably say you lean more into the performance focus of things, or and with like they also look good, or you try like to maintain that balance?
Yeah, I try to balance it a little bit. I'm like, how can I make at its base level, like a very basic pocket look very good, but at the same time be like, if your sidewall blows out, like someone could just pick it up that knows like basic stringing and be able to kind of figure their way out to replicate it and fix it.
Yeah, I like that style a lot. So how do you kind of approach different player positions? Do you focus more on the player? Because I've talked to some stringers, they're usually old school stringers. So it's like if a pole comes to me, like I'm gonna give them a high pocket, it's gonna have some good hold on ground balls, and an attackman comes to me, he plays X, he's gonna get a mid low just for that one-handed cradle. So how do you kind of approach that?
Yeah, I think some heads are definitely built for certain pockets, right? So you look at like something like a Stallion 1K, or not a Stallion, I'm sorry, a Surgeon 1K, like not probably going to put a high pocket in that unless someone like really asks for it. Like I'm probably going like that mid low, like sort of like that, maybe like that Brendan O'Neill pattern.
Yeah.
That's a really good like some of like there's certain pockets too that I think just like fit a head really well. That's like a perfect example right there. But yeah, I think like pocket philosophy. I think it's a little bit of what the head is, what the position they're playing is, and then maybe what the player currently has. So like if a player like a long pole or an LSM, I'm probably gonna lean towards like a mid high, something that's
Hmm.
like easy for like ground balls. But like, if some dude comes to me, like one of my roommates, he had a hammer and it had, or not a hammer, a tank and it had like a mid low pocket and he was an LSM and he just used it and it was like his like he just that's and he was a ground ball machine and I was like I'll just keep giving you what you have like there's no reason to change up what you got if you can do everything you already do with it.
Yeah, that's actually fun. That's a new one for me. A mid low and a tank. That's
Yeah, he came to me with that and he was like, can you just replicate it? And I was like, sure thing. So
so. Do you kind of believe there's anything as like a perfect pocket in a sense, or do you think it's going to vary a lot?
yeah, I think there's definitely some perfect pockets for certain heads, but like I don't know if it's necessarily like a perfect for everyone. But like for example, Paul Rabel used the Rabel 2 with like the same pocket for probably I think what 10 or 15 years or
I
something
think
like
he
that.
still uses it.
Yeah, and he uses the exact same stick every time, the like same mesh, everything. And you watch all of his videos and you see like he doesn't even have to think. It's like second nature. So I think some of the people kind of find the perfect pocket for them and then they kind of just like stick with it. I think like Dylan Molloy is another example. He kind of rocks that, OG optic with just like the most average like
Yeah.
mid low like kind of a bag. and he just knows what it's gonna do. So I think for some people they're able to find it, and then for some people they're kind of just always looking to like, make that tweak or just slight adjustment as they keep playing.
Yeah, I like that philosophy a lot. That's probably similar to how I approach it a little bit. And then that kind of takes into our next part. So this actually question comes from 50 Cal. What do you think the best head brand is overall as a stringer? And then maybe if it's like some heads string better than others, but some play better than others. What are your opinions on that?
Yeah, so I think depending on I think it also kind of goes into like position. So
Hmm.
like if you're um if you're a goalie right now, it's like you're either rocking with the Eclipse 3 or the ECD Impact. And I think both of those heads string up very well. I personally prefer using ECD Impact Mesh. Um, I just strung a lot of it, and I think it breaks in just a little bit better. I used it when I was playing in college too. No bias, even when I was working for 'em. But like, I just think it's better than string. So I think like that's like the path you go for a goalie, which is what I played in college. And then um, right now I'm really liking Maverick. I think their spacing on the holes is getting a little bit better. They kind of messed it up with the optic force, so it made it a little bit more challenging to string. I strung a lot of Lakota threes. I think that head has pretty good spacing. It has a few less holes, but I think it kind of works. I know the L4 has like one more hole, but it's not really, it's just like another one at the top.
Yeah.
So, and then as far as like mesh and head combos, I think it's fine. Like I string both regularly. I think I string ECD just a little bit more because that's just what more people ask for right now, just
Yeah.
because you can get the colors with it too. I know that like Shrinking just came out with like the gray, but I think with like the striker, like everyone, especially like younger kids, really like the striker
Yeah.
colors and they can, mix and match. But I think right now, like I like Maverick heads, I like STX. I think STX heads are a little bit harder to string, but I usually go back to the same few patterns on those and
Hmm.
they work. ECD heads are really easy to string. I just got an RC1 for the first time, strung it up. That was a breeze.
It's
I think,
phenomenal.
yeah, the holes and the spacing are great on that. So excited to just keep using that and kind of figuring out that one. But
Yeah.
and then string king, string king just has a lot of holes, but I feel like I just kind of go back to like the same few patterns on those, and they're pretty easy to string.
Yeah, my biggest thing with the shrinking heads is I feel like I'm sometimes in the minority here. It almost seems like too many holes sometimes,
Yeah.
where it's like it's nice. It's like you can customize it, but it's almost like I think they have like 30 some odd holes like on the
Yeah,
sideboard.
it's a
It's like
lot. I think the bottom holes too are just kind of
yeah,
wacky. You just keep rolling with like I don't mind it. Like I'll string them and the pockets come out fine, but it's just like you have to think a little bit before you string those ones for sure.
yeah. And that's one my biggest thing with heads right now. I'm a big STX guy just for the plastic. Like I love
Yeah.
the stringability for me of warrior heads. But
Hmm.
the plastic on the if they just could use STX plastic, it'd be light years because I have an Evo QXO and it just bends so easily.
Yeah, I think Maverick, I know they're starting to switch over to that like forced plastic.
Hmm.
And I think like I had a couple people bring me like their Havoc too, and it was like ones they've used for like 2 or 3 seasons. And I'm like, guys, like this
We gotta
thing is
get a new one.
yeah, it's on its last leg. Like it's damn near a noodle at this point.
Now that's the way one of my he's actually up at Hood now. His younger brother went there, so he transferred. He gave me one of his old Havocs to string, and like I looked at this thing, I'm like, how are we using this? He's like, no, man, it's great. I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah. Some people just keep using the same stick. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. So obviously we talked about that head and mesh. Like what are some have you got a chance to be involved in any product testing a little bit? I'm working at ECD. You might have got to see some things there, but
Yeah, I did fortunately get the impact like a test one like a little bit early. I never like used it during the season because I didn't want to like beg them for like a bunch more to like get through a season because I didn't know how it would hold up. But I used it a little bit in like the fall before it came out, and kind of just had it in the spring, but I used an Eclipse 2 the whole year until they like mass produced the finished product, and then I just switched over to that for a little bit. But yeah, I've had a few opportunities. Can't really say a lot, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's how it is.
That's I
So,
am sure it is. So what would be some innovations you'd like to see the industry kind of take a step for? Like my biggest thing is not really innovation. I just want it back is the OG striker color on the hero mesh.
oh yeah, 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 like the yep, I know what
The
you're
two
talking
lines
about.
in the middle, it looks so good, and it's just non-existent anymore.
Yeah, I think one thing is like sort of like pro stock stringing sticks, sort of like in a way. Like, for example, like I think right now, like STX, Maverick, and even maybe Warrior. I haven't seen a lot of Warrior pre-strungs, but I just feel like the pockets that like you get
Not
like a
good.
pre-strung STX beginner stick, and I'm like, God, I want to restring this art. Like, I just want to put a pocket in it that like works for these kids. And like, I feel like there's like kind of levels to it because like I had an opportunity to string for Richmond University, and they sent me a bunch of heads, and like some of them are just like the pre-strung ones that they get like straight from Maverick or whatever. And like I just took one of them one day and I just like pounded the pocket that was already in it. And it was like illegal after pounding it for like 30 seconds. And I
Yeah.
was like, and it has like, like the factory mesh that's not good at all. And I'm just like, STX, or not STX, ECD and String King have like set the standard for like an awesome pre-strung lacrosse stick. And like every company should be on that. And then there should be maybe like a version that's like high school or college
Yeah.
game ready. Like something I know ECD has those at Dick's. They have like the Ion complete stick or like I think they have like a Mirage 3 complete stick now probably, but they also have like the Bravo stick, and I'm like, yeah, like there's the beginner stick and then there's like the one if you're in like high school or college and you need to grab one off the shelf that's like usable. I think those are like that's what we need like STX to start doing. Like they've done it in the women's game. Like they
Yeah.
have the stock women's stick. Like I feel like there's so many like there's a room for that in the men's game because I've seen so many like high school and college players where they're like I'm like looking at their stick and I'm like, who strung this? How is this a stick you're using in a college like a collegiate like a D1 game? Like I've had like my buddy at Richmond who hit me up to get some sticks strung for like the team. He sends me pictures of like some of the sticks. I'm just like, who like how did that even get to a college level? Like I don't understand how there's like a lack for like stringing for some people. It's just it's like a thing that you don't even think about. Like not everyone has access to like, like a local stringer or like
Hmm.
someone who just knows what they're doing when they're putting like it doesn't even have to be like super crazy. Like there's so many people out there who just have like poor quality sticks and like they have the good like they have like Hero 4 in it. They have good sidewall in it. It's just like the pocket itself is just not like it's not shaped correctly.
Yeah, that's been my biggest gripe at all because I help a lot with our youth players,
Mhm.
and so like they're like, Coach, like what stick should I get and everything, like and like some of them are coming to like with the beginner STX sticks, and it's like, it's good for the first two practices, third practice it's broken in, it's just a shelf coming out, and
Yeah.
it's like we're having to like tie these up on the fly, and I'm like, guys, like go. So in my opinion, right now the best pre-strung is the RC1
Mhm.
outside of the ECD and String King, but they're pre-strung RC1s. Like I picked one up, it's straight out the box. Like I was able to function through a practice like well with it. I could warm up a
Yeah.
goalie, take the drills, and so I do agree we need more things like that for the sport because it helps the overall growth of it too. Because nothing turns a kid off more than like, oh hey, I got this stick. Oh no, I just can't use it.
Yeah, I'll add on to that too. Like there's like the STX beginner goalie stick and like the club I coach with, there's like six of them floating around whenever we run like rec practices or like club things and like we just need to like throw someone in the goal. And the pockets that are in these like pre-strung goalie sticks are just
Terrible.
the worst thing ever. And I'm like, just put like just put a pocket in it that like actually works because like we'll like run an event and like we'll throw someone in the goal that has like the pre-strung like goal master or shield whatever they call it now and like just go out there and I'm just like the stick doesn't work for them like there's just it doesn't work and it like kind of ruin it like almost kind of ruins like the essence of them trying to
Yeah.
like learn goalie. But
Yeah. No, that's been so we my dad he coaches one of the youth teams around here and he had the same thing like we had the goalie stick like I was looking at it, I was like let me see this because like you have it it's like for a goalie stick the pocket's like this like shallower than a field guy I was like oh the ball's just like bouncing out of the kid's sticks like we restrung it we go out there he's like oh coach this is great like what have I been missing I was like guys this should not be a thing it
yeah,
should
I
come
was
like this.
yeah, I was fortunate enough that when I came down here, I met Matt DeLuca, the Water Dogs goalie, and I started helping him out with like some of the like the goalie events that he was running, and um, he was like, "Oh, you know how to string?" He's like, "Great, like now you can string my sticks." And then I get there and I go to the event, and then like all these kids are like, yeah, like can you just restring my stick? And it was just like one of those things where like you like I moved to the South and like everyone down here
Yep.
doesn't have like like a stringer to reach out to or like a big store that like you can always just rely like on like the same thing coming out of. And I was like, yeah, just like everyone like gave me their goalie stick. I restrung all of them and like everyone it was like night and day just instantly.
Yeah, so that's a cool. I was going to get to it later, but you brought it up. You mentioned you were fortunate enough to meet Matt DeLuca. How'd
Yeah.
that whole relationship kind of come about? Because I see on your Instagram, obviously, you're posting his sticks that you're doing. You had the giveaways. Like, what led to
Yeah.
all that happening?
Yeah, so right out of college I moved to the Charleston area and when I moved down here, I reached out to the local club. It's called well, like the main conglomerate is called Lax, but it's called Charleston Loggerheads. Or so through that, I met Tom Harris. He's like the main guy who runs it, and then Matt DeLuca is like the director. So through him, he, like put me on like a team and then was like, hey, like running all these other like events, like if you have any time or, want to help out, like let me know. And helped out with some of the goalie stuff. And then through that, just, uh, mentioned how I was like stringing sticks. And he was like, yeah, like if you could string my sticks, that'd be great. So kind of just like walked into that job,
Yeah.
uh, which was nice. And then through that, I also met there's a small lacrosse shop down here called Lax. There's three of them. I think there's one in like Columbia, one in Savannah, one in Greenville, and then one in Charleston. So I string all the sticks that come through Charleston. But um, the PLL sends DeLuca like I think it's like every season they get like a new stick like before the season starts to go like to take to training camp.
Hmm.
So he just gave it to me. I just picked it up and strung it for him and gave it back. And I just kind of replicated what like pretty much very similar to what he was already using. He had the Eclipse 3. And then ECD hit him up and was like, hey, we'll send you impacts if you want to use them. So they sent him a bunch of impacts. He gave them to me, strung them up. Um, and he switched over to the impact like halfway through the season. And that one I kind of took more creative freedom. Like that's like
Yeah.
my pocket in that. Like the Eclipse 3 he first used was like just what he had already kind of had, just with like my little flair on it. But like the impact pattern was like just one I had come up with.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
and he was loving that. So I think he has like two or three of them.
Yeah. So one thing about goalie sticks, because I just started stringing a little bit, and I know he's one of the guys who uses it. No shooters. What's the thought process kind of behind that? Because some goalies like love the use, some hate them. So I was kind of just curious what the difference is that.
Yeah, I have my the one I used in college here, and I think the no shooters, it's just like it just be kind of like came a thing. I'm a believer that like there's this whole theory of like you'd string a stick with no shooters and then break it in the pocket, and then you add the shooters to adjust depending on how the pocket is. And I think it was just one of those things in like goalie sticks, like I think especially like younger goalies, like trying to throw with a goalie stick is already difficult when you're just learning how to play lacrosse too. And I think sometimes we're like quick to blame the stick of like we're
Yeah.
not playing well and it's maybe our mechanics. So I think maybe it started with like people just taking like strings out of because with less strings there's less adjustments. So like if it's a well-strung pocket, like you don't need shooters. And I think that kind of like there's nothing you're gonna tweak or pull if you think it's just all mechanics and just, fine tuning the mechanics of the person, not the stick. So
Yeah, that's a big like finally someone else like said it on here. I'm a big believer in like like one of my players on my high school team, my help coach. He was like, "Coach, he's a face off. He's like, Coach, can you put shooters in there?" I was like, "Sure, man," but he's like, "I need them." I'm like, "Well, you don't. A pocket, if it's strung well, shouldn't need the shooters.
yeah.
They're there to add that extra tension, a little extra feel, a little bit." And he's like, "What do you
Yeah,
mean?"
it's
I was
funny
like,
because I find myself I'm just like kind of getting this like idea of like every stick I have has to have like three shooters. And I'm like, I don't know why, but like most of my sticks just have three, like my personal sticks, but like sticks I string for people, it's usually like maybe two or one in a nylon or like two in a nylon. But like, I don't know why, like most of the sticks I string for myself just have like three shooters and it's like a
"Yeah."
boxy, just like bag.
Hey, box bags are great. I'm starting to play with them a lot more. They're catching and oh, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So obviously, lacrosse has a passionate and growing gear culture. It's one of the cool parts of our sport, especially with it being so small between like the pro game and like us, like sideline swap, all that. How do you
Yeah.
kind of see that community evolving a little bit, and do you think it's good for the overall growth of the game?
Yeah, I would call myself, well, in college, I'd call myself like a sideline swap demon. I was just constantly like buying and selling everything. And then like, especially in college, like I just kind of understood like the value of like certain lacrosse products and just knowing like when you find a good deal. Like in college, there was a Play It Again Sports, the Play It Again in Frederick that apparently everyone on this podcast goes to. So I was just like constantly finding deals either there or just on sideline swap itself and just like buying and selling to like make a little bit of money, but like at the same time just like see some like really cool stuff because there's a lot of products that like some of these brands make that like don't ever kind of like see the day of light
Yeah,
for like everyone else. Like I know like some of the old STX gloves, like the goalie gloves were there was no like stock goalie gloves you could ever buy, but like sometimes like the colleges like would just get like a model that was like never released, but like no one really kind of knew that. So like I always found like interest in those. And then like the occasional like someone just sells something they have no idea what they're selling and you
yeah,
just get it for like a crazy deal and then you either keep it or sell it or give it to a
yeah.
teammate. So
My favorite, I think he's probably just looking to get rid of it. I got a Mirage 3 graphene for like $50 on Sideline Swap. It's like one of those refresh things that just showed
yeah,
up. I'm like, I don't need another head, but like that's a pretty
50
good deal.
bucks, can't beat it. Yeah, I always just sort it by newest and like every now and then like once or twice a day I'll sort it by newest and just like give it like two or three refreshes and just kind of see what pops up. But like again, like a lot of these college guys just get like all their stuff just
Yeah,
like given to them and like whatever they don't use, they just know they can make like a quick buck on sideline swaps, so they just let it rip and you can honestly find like pretty much anything you're looking to buy brand new from like a big box store and you can get it on Sideline Swap new for probably 20% off at least.
yeah. Now it's Sideline Swap's been a lot of big. Like whenever my new players like, Coach, we're gonna get gear. I'm like, what are you looking for? Let me go find it for you.
Yeah.
So obviously a big thing for you and me right now is that social media and Instagram. So how have you kind of seen that change the way stringers and like brands are able to connect in your time as like posting?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I should have started like when I started stringing like in elementary school or middle school and maybe I'd be a little bit more like bigger or popular or more established or whatever, but I just think it's a cool way to like kind of show off your work. I've been fortunate enough to string for, a handful of either colleges or pros or whatever. So I think it's cool to kind of show off your work a little bit, but it's also nice to like connect with like people who are looking for, a good quality stick. And that's like something I can offer, right? So I think it's a cool platform and I'm a big believer that it also is like a really good way to like teach more people just about like, stringing and like what a good pocket is and like kind of like continuing to pass down like the idea of like stringing your own stick and like having a good pocket.
Yeah. So what would be any shout outs to some stringers or like developers either you've gotten to know through the years or just maybe interacted with on Instagram?
Oh my God, there's so many. I think like learning wise is definitely like ECD, Throne. Those videos were like, I mean, game changing back in the
Yeah.
day. I think now it's like I think Lars he pumps out a lot of good content and kind of like the new school techniques. And it's like it's kind of funny. Like the Liberty top string is just like a really, really old technique that was used like way back in the day before like the
Yep.
standard like nine diamond thing became a thing. I think it's just crazy to see that it's like we're just kind of like
We're just
retweak
cycling it.
yeah, we're just like cycling, but it's like we're kind of like it's like a new take on it. Like the new Liberty top string that he's created, like I mean, it's probably like 100 times more functional than what the original one was. But I think it's just like it's like that constant like we're just like slowly evolving, but it's like the same few things are just like you know like the basis of the whole like technique and everything
Yeah.
to it.
That's what my first guy set strings. I think these were a little before our time. I'm gonna assume the old lacrosse forums. He's like,
Yeah,
yeah, man.
I dug up. I remember I think it was like um Lacrosse All Stars used to have a couple videos out. Watch those. Um, they're like early Instagram days were like it was kind of like the Wild West. Like people were like blurring the patterns on the stick they strung. I was like, I don't know if it's that deep. But
Proprietary, man.
yeah, right. Like if someone wants my pattern, like my stick is on my account, and if you really want me to send it to you, I'll be happy to send you the patterns I
Hey,
use on my stick.
I have been wanting to copy those. One of my first goalie sticks was a copy of one of your patterns, I
Oh,
believe.
no way.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then also the cool part we had a earlier, like without crossover, one of our players, he's in the middle school, he'll be on our high school team next year. He actually won that Matt DeLuca
Oh
head
yeah, yeah,
giveaway.
yeah.
So I tied that up for him. So I was like, oh, it's a crazy small world.
Yeah, lacrosse is just, I mean, everything is a small world. Like, I swear so many times I've like met people or like they just know someone that you've played with or that you coached or the whole lacrosse world is just super tight knit. And I think it's just one of those awesome little niche communities where you can kind of always know someone that's, maybe like only a few people away from where you once were.
Yeah. Now that's the cool thing I've noticed about stringing. Like when I first started, like if you approach them with the right attitude and like everything, like most everyone in this community, as far as the string is like willing to help. Like if you have a question, like a very respectful, like, hey, could you help me out with this? I'm struggling with this. Like I asked Lars a question one time, and he's just like, hey man, sure. Here's how you do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And like I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of other sports, you're not going to get that from like the big timers in a sense.
No, yeah, I think it's one of those, it's just awesome that there's so many talented people in this space, but like at the same time, we're all kind of just like, yep, like you need any, like just tell me what you need, I can help you out.
Yeah. So we actually have some more questions from the Instagram story. These two come from 50 cal. We'll go back to back. What's your favorite stringer logo outside of your own?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Um, I think like the String Shark's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Penny Strings has a pretty cool one. Lars has a cool one, like the Star Wars. I love that. Um, Anchor Strings, kid I used to play with in college. He had like an anchor, like a boat anchor. I thought that
Yeah.
was neat. So yeah, I think there's a lot of cool logos. I think it's one of those things like there's so many accounts out there right now that
Yeah.
like you have to find something that's like different, new, or
Hmm.
um, something that like people haven't seen before. And I know it's kind of getting hard. So
Yeah.
just happy that like just have got blessed with
You got with
my
arguably the
brand, my
best
personal brand.
arguably the best branding in the lacrosse community right now.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time before Milk Duds comes emailing me and telling me that I owe them a shit ton of money or something, but we'll fight that battle when we get there.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't come, but you never know.
Yeah.
So who would be some I guess underrated stringers in the space that you've kind of noticed? Because some people like they post good work, but they might just not have like a super big following.
I think there's just like there's so many people that like I've played with and like growing up that like they just don't even have accounts.
Yeah.
Like I guarantee you if you just like hit up some like you ask around your team, there's definitely someone that can string like a pretty good stick. And if not, they can probably copy a pattern that's already on Instagram or like YouTube. But yeah, I think there's so many guys out there right now. I know like Tucker strings, he strings a pretty good
Yeah,
stick. I think he does them for free. So like
he
if you need a
does.
stick for free, like just go hit him up.
No, he's cool. He's actually he's did our last episode, and like it was
Oh,
cool
nice.
finally talking to him. He was cool guy. His approach to it is phenomenal. I love it.
Yeah, he's funny dude. His memes and everything, like
Oh my god.
just so much going on.
Calling out the entirety of Lacrosse Network. I'm like, this is great. Someone finally did it.
Yeah, it's hilarious. So
So, what would be some advice you have kind of for some younger players or just like newer players wanting to get into this whole streaming world?
yeah, I think I saw it like I can't remember what the account was, but like someone posted like their stick they strung on like TikTok yesterday. And I like stumbled upon it. And I mean, it was like an awful stick. Like it looked atrocious. And I was like, so glad he posted that. Like some of the comments were like hate or whatever, but like other guys were like, hey, like watch a couple videos, like you're almost there, like you're figuring it out. And it's one of those things like if anyone in here posted like, their first few sticks they strung, they'd be like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
what was I even thinking? Like I didn't even know what I was doing. And I think it's just one of those things like just keep at it. And then like I remember like there wasn't a lot of videos when I first started. And it was like trying to figure it out myself and just like that constant doing it over and over and over again until I figured out how like the knot actually like is created by the movement of just like looping it through the plastic and the mesh and the diamond. Like I think it's one of those things, it's just like trial and error.
Yeah. That's been a pretty common. That's how I started. I started off with like the pattern copy, but it's kind of similar. Like once you start to get past that, it's like, okay, I've got the patterns down. Now, what does each knot do? And like, I think that's the biggest thing to understand because once you learn like the different knots, you kind of figure out on your own through trial and error. Hey, this goes with this well. Like these singles and doubles are gonna match up really well after some like anchor knots coming all the way down the
Yeah.
sidewall.
Or like, for example, like stringing to the inside works better on heads that are wider
Yeah.
versus heads that are already narrow.
Yeah, so we're kind of wrapping up our time here. We're going to finish out with a rapid fire round. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions, and then you're going to give the first answer that comes to your mind.
Okay.
All right, perfect. So what's your favorite mesh?
Hero 4 or String King 4X.
Okay. What's the most underrated head of all time?
RC1.
RC, what? Love that answer. It's phenomenal. Most, on flip side, what's the most overrated head of all time?
Lakota 3, it's versatile. I just don't. That and the Stallion 1K, a lot of people use it. I just think I don't like stringing it that much. So that's the only gripe. But
Yeah,
I think Lakota 3, I think everyone uses it, but like I think maybe the 4 I like a little bit better. I think everyone just kind of used it at one point for it's just an average head.
yeah, I will say the four I got my hands on one. It's a lot stiffer than the L3, which is my biggest gripe with the L3 whenever I was stringing them up is like
Yeah.
I string them up for a kid and like 4 games in, like from all the shots and checks, the thing's already like pinched
It's
super
starting to
narrow.
warp a little bit.
Yeah, but like this L4, it's beefy. It's a
Yeah.
lot nicer. And then so on the flip side of that first, and what's your least favorite mesh to string?
Um, when I strung for Richmond, I strung like a absurd amount of tanks and havocs with 5X, and my hands were just close to bleeding after that.
Dude, five X is brutal. I mean,
I
it breaks
I
in kind
use
of nice, but
Yeah, I have 5X in one of my Mark 3 Vs, and it like you just have to like pound the ever living crap out of it to get like it to break in. But like when you string more than one in a sitting, it's a nightmare.
yeah. And last one, what's your favorite head to string?
Um, Probably the ECD Impact with like the elite pocket that they put in it whenever I was stringing those for ECD. There was something about that. I just loved it. Field wise though. Um, I'll give it to um the Mirage 3. I think the Mirage 3 strings up well.
Mirage 3. Yeah, Mirage 3 is awesome. I show up on. I'm trying to get my hands on the box version. That looks. I'm happy they
Yeah.
finally did that because I
Yeah.
like a wider head.
Yeah, I think some of the box stuff now I'm waiting to see what like I feel like other companies now have to all kind of like respond to like the box
Yeah,
movement. Like waiting to see what like Maverick does. They kind of like quietly dropped like rib guards and like bicep pads. So I'm waiting to see if they do like a box offering for a head.
Gotcha.
STX used to have some like way back in the day. Like maybe they'll drop something new. I don't know, but like would love
Yeah.
to see what they got coming up.
That'd be awesome. Well, DudzLax, this was a great episode. Where can listeners kind of find your work, reach out to you?
Yeah, just hit me up on Instagram. It's at DudzLax. And I post all my stuff there. I'm a little slower on posting, but like they I string a lot of sticks. I just don't have a lot of time to post them. But if you have any questions or want to stick strung, like you can always find me in my DMs.
Yeah, well, DudzLax, thank you again for coming on. To everyone watching, listening, make sure you like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube. Have some more episodes. See you coming soon, and thanks again for coming on.
Yep, peace.